Welcome back to the Brew Nub channel. I'm Mike.
And I'm Joey.
And today we're going to be opening up the Holiday Ale from Craft A Brew. So before we get started, we're going to open up the kit and explain everything that's in there, and then we're going to go over everything you'll need for the brewing process. All right, Joey, let's see what's inside the kit.
Okay, so in this episode's kit, it brings some bittering hops, some aroma hops, specialty grains, your dried malt extract. It also brings a cheesecloth, your cinnamon and allspice, yeast, and sanitizer.
Cool. So that's everything that's inside the kit. Now, Joey, let's go through what you'll need for the brewing process, starting with you.
So we're going to need a 1 gallon carboy, a blow-off assembly, a 2-piece or 3-piece airlock, and a spray bottle.
A hop spider, measuring cup, funnel with strainer, and a stock pot. So now that you know everything you'll need for the brewing, let's go ahead and do some sanitation, and then we'll get into the brewing. If you want to see how to sanitize, you can review this video here. It will also explain how to bottle also. Alright, Joey, so now that we were able to sanitize everything, let's start filling up the stock pot. Now, we already filled the stock pot with 1 gallon, but we're going to do 1.5 gallons. Joey, could you explain why we're going to do 1.5 gallons?
Well, the simple reason why is because water evaporates.
So once he gets that filled, you're going to take the temperature up to 155. Once we get it up to 155, we'll show you the next steps. All right, Joey, now that we got our temperature up to 155 degrees Fahrenheit, what's our next step?
So now we're going to start our steeping process. So you're going to need to grab your cheesecloth, your specialty grains, and what we're going to do is going to take these specialty grains, put them in here, and then we're going to put them in the water for 15 minutes.
So once you have your specialty grains within the cheesecloth, grab something like a toothpick so that you could stick it off to the side so that the bag doesn't fall into the water and you don't have to shovel it out. So Joey, let's get that started.
Alrighty.
Give this a quick stretch so that it's a little bit easier to get the specialty grains in.
Alright.
Give it a couple ups and down. All right, now that we steep the grains for 15 minutes, Joey, let's take them out.
All right. And what we want to make sure, what we do is not squeeze the grains because we don't want any extra tannins in there.
Correct. So now that that's over off to the side, we'll throw that on here, and we're going to bring that up to a boil, which is what, Joey?
It's 212.
So once we get our wort up to 212, we'll come back and show you the next steps. All right, so we brought our wort up to the boiling temperature, Joey, which is?
212.
So what's the next step that we're going to do?
So now we're going to start inserting our dried malt extract. And
let's take it off of the burner.
And so what's very important when we're pouring this in is that we want to make sure that we consistently keep on stirring because we don't want it to stick in the bottom.
Yep. So Joey, let's get that started. As Joey's cutting that open, I'm going to give this a quick spray with our sanitizer. Because anything that's touching the wort from this point, you want to make sure is sanitized.
All right. Ready?
Yep. All right, so now that we have everything stirred in, let's bring it back to the burner. And we're going to add what, Joey?
We're going to start adding our first hops. And these are going to be sitting it into boil for 1 hour.
So we're going to clean up our hop spider. So Joey, what kind of hops are these?
These are bittering hops.
So make sure with this kit that you're using your bittering hops at the start of the boil. So we're going to get those in. Now there's 2 things that we'll need to do. There's another set of hops that you have, which are...
These are the aroma hops.
And you're going to add those 2 minutes before the boil ends. And then there's the cinnamon and allspice that you can add 10 minutes before the boil ends, or there's special instructions given off the site which we'll go over because we're going to go that route. So we'll do that at the end of the video. Now that it's been 58 minutes within the 60-minute timer, we're going to throw in our aroma hops.
All right, here we go.
Alright, so now that we poured in our hops, we have 2 minutes left of the 60-minute boil. Once we finish that, we'll show you the last few steps. Alright, so now that we've boiled our wort for 60 minutes, we're going to give it an ice bath and bring it down to 75 degrees. Joey, can you explain why we want to bring this down to 75 degrees?
Well, the reason why is because we don't want to kill the yeast.
That's right. So after we get this down to 75 degrees, we're going to pitch the yeast, and then we'll show you the remaining steps once we're finished with that. See you then. All right, so now that we dropped our wort down to a cool 75 degrees Fahrenheit, we're going to want to transfer it into the carboy. So you're going to want your funnel and strainer. Give it a quick clean with the sanitizer. And then we're going to bring our wort and place it into the carboy. And that's exactly why we use the hop spider, because there would have been a lot of extra stuff that would go straight into your beer, which you do not want. So actually, we want to get it to the fill mark just a little bit more. So Joey, if you can get our water. And let's fill it just a tad bit more up into here. Keep going. Perfect. So now that that has been done and we have it to the line that we want, we're about to pitch the yeast. We'll drop it in. And then we have a cap that's closed off that will sanitize quickly. And then Joey, give that a shake for 1 minute. Alexa, timer 1 minute.
1 minute, starting now.
Now Joey, why do we only want to do it for 1 minute?
For oxidation.
Correct, you don't want to oxidize the beer itself.
How come I'm the one that's shaking?
That's because you're the muscles, baby. You see this?
That's muscle?
I'm not working out at this age. Even though you're older than me. That's how you keep tone, my man.
I don't know.
It's funny that, 60 seconds is always a lot. Feels a lot longer when you're waiting for it to end. And there we go. 60 seconds. Let's get that off. So the final step, we'll spray this, and we want to get off our blow-off assembly. Alright, so now that we pitched the yeast, what we're going to do is set up our assembly blow-off. So You throw the cap on, you get your tubing ready to go. Joey, let's fill up a mason jar or anything you have similar with your sanitizer. Yep. And all you want to do is throw the tube out the side. So what this is going to do, as this starts to ferment, a lot of CO2 is going to build up, and you'll want a place for the CO2 to escape. So now that we have our mason jar filled with the solution, you'll want to take this into a dark area that's cool and make sure it sits there for 2 weeks. And once that 2 weeks is up, that's when you can start the bottling process. And if you want to see how the bottling process is done, you can check out our video here. So with the cinnamon allspice, you had 2 options. 1, you throw this in 10 minutes before the end of the boil, or 2, you could go the extra route and make your beer a little bit better. So what you'll do, 14 days into the fermentation, you want to take an ounce of vodka or any spirit that's on the lighter side to use. I prefer Absolute. And then mix this in. Once that's completed, during the bottling process, once you've finished getting your priming sugar ready to go, you'll take this cinnamon allspice and mix it together, and then just bottle your beer as you usually would. And that's going to be the end of it. You've finished the whole brewing process. I'd like to thank you for taking your time to watch our video. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them, and we'll make sure to take them into consideration. Please make sure to like and subscribe. That will help us grow.
No, I'm looking forward to the next video.
All right. Thank you so much, and we'll see you then.
See you guys.
Bye.